What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and I wanted to quickly apologize if my audio quality is not the best in this video, as I am recording this from a different location and a different place. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the latest deliveries report that came out for Q2. I'm going to break down the data for you and talk about why this wasn't necessarily a great report, but at the same time, why it wasn't necessarily bad either. Now, before I break down the data and do a comparative analysis of these numbers, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, each worth up to $3,500. And the best part is, out of those 10 free stocks, 5 of them are going to come from the wheel right over here. This means that you could get 5 free AMC shares, 5 free Tesla shares, or a mix of all of them in this limited time offer that ends in just 2 weeks. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, we've seen this thing drop quite a bit over the last couple of months, and we've seen lots of choppy price action as many investors are not very confident about the next quarter coming up and also for the market in general. But the next quarter, or I'm sorry, the next earnings report is what I'm trying to say. When that comes out, I don't have really high expectations for it because of things that were outside of Tesla's control. Now, looking at the data, Tesla delivered 254,695 electric vehicles in the second quarter of 2022. Now, is that a good number or a bad number? It depends on how you want to look at this. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about, though, is kind of remind you guys about the context of this situation. Then I'm going to break down the numbers for you because you have to know the context. Why did we see a decrease in deliveries compared to last quarter? Well, just to go back real quick, there were supply chain issues that were obviously affecting the whole world. There was a global chip shortage. And then, not to mention this right here, as this was going on in China, we had a lot of the virus was spreading in China, right? And particularly in Shanghai, they had these big lockdowns that really affected Tesla and the EV sector like crazy, lots of manufacturing plants and many big companies. So what happened was the lockdowns started on April 1st, 2022, just these ones in particular, and they ended on May 30th. So it was about 2 months for all of April and all of May, essentially. And we saw Tesla slowly come back. They got shut down around April. They slowly started to come back, but then they went back into shutdown mode. I mean, it was just a mess for them. This was some of the most difficult challenges, in my opinion, that Tesla has ever faced. And despite that, they actually had a pretty decent report that came out. 254,000 vehicles. Once again, June was actually an all-time high record for them in deliveries. So they crushed it for June in particular. But for April and May, they did not do too well because of the lockdowns, and that really kind of dropped their numbers. Now, to break down the number more specifically, let's actually look at this right here. We could see Tesla reported on their website, in the second quarter, we produced 258,000 vehicles and delivered over 254,000, despite the ongoing supply chain constraints and factory shutdowns that were beyond their control. That's 100% true. I could really sympathize with the pain they're going through. It's very tough when things like this happen. And for June 2022, that was the highest vehicle production month in Tesla's history. So it goes to show Tesla is still a monster. They're still capable of doing extremely well if there weren't these lockdowns or even the supply chains weren't this bad. And they did pretty well, in my opinion, for June. But overall, did they meet expectations? That's the question that a lot of people are kind of wondering. So before I talk about that, let's actually look at the data a little bit more specifically. The Model S and X had about 16,000 in deliveries and in production. And also for the Model 3 and Y, we had 242,000 in production and 238,000 that were delivered. So overall, the 3 and the Y made up the majority of this. And we did start to see some progress, or quite a bit of progress, in Austin and also in Berlin. So it's very good to see that. I expect them to continue to grow. And Tesla overall, I mean, did they meet expectations? The answer is yes and no, because if we go back to this report that came out from Yahoo Finance and many different articles out there, we could see that big institutions, big analysts, they expected Tesla's deliveries to be around 310,000 beforehand, but then they lowered it to 245,000. But different analysts out there said different things. So they had to lower their expectations after they actually got new insight about things that were happening. Now, other people from Wall Street thought it would be 287,000, right? Tesla did not meet that. And if you look at this right here, other analysts said it would be around 250,000. So on average, the estimate came to be about between 250 to 260,000, and Tesla did kind of meet that, excuse me, but they didn't necessarily meet the previous expectation of about 310,000. Instead, they lowered expectations, and that's how Tesla was able to meet it. Now, going back, let me see if I could actually find this article right here. So, going back to the first quarter, right, when the year started, right, the lockdowns were not as bad, and so on and so forth. Tesla produced over 305,000 vehicles, and they delivered 310,000. So in the first quarter, it was about 100,000 vehicles on average per month. And now it kind of went down. Instead of 310,000, we got, what is that? 254 to 258,000 in deliveries versus production. So it's a bit of a drop. So what does this mean for Tesla going forward? Well, I want to talk about some of the risks. Okay, what's risky is in the future, when winter comes, will cases go up again in China? The risk is if that happens, there's a possibility they could impose more of these lockdowns. Now, is that guaranteed? No, that's not guaranteed. But if it does happen, it will affect Tesla, and it is something you should be prepared for. But as of right now, I'm not seeing that happen, and I do think Q3 will be much better for Tesla. Now, another thing that's a little risky that you need to be well aware of is Tesla has their earnings report. I think it's supposed to be July 20th. Other sources say July 25th. I do believe, I'm sorry, it's July 20th. When it comes, earnings per share may not be as great as it was in Q1 because they did produce less cars. And then Elon Musk did make comments about how during the lockdowns, the new gigafactories were losing them billions of dollars. So revenue won't be the same as Q1. Earnings per share won't be the same. Other metrics won't be as great. So I don't have very high expectations for the Q2 report. And I personally think that it's very possible that this could actually cause a bit of a drop in the share price later during the month. I can't guarantee that. It depends on how the market responds and the position we're in, but I do think that's a little bit more probable based off the data that we are seeing so far. Now, I just want to remind you, right? I'm being realistic. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm very optimistic for Tesla. I believe that this company is going to soar. And they still did well in this latest quarter, in my opinion, because they had so many issues, so many obstacles that were not in their control. It's not their fault there were these lockdowns. It's not their fault there's this whole supply chain constraint. It's not their fault. So we can't attack the company itself. They still did pretty well for them to actually beat what they did last year, because I think the data showed last year during the second quarter of 2021, they delivered 201,000 vehicles. And now this quarter, we got over 254,000. So there's improvement. I mean, that's good in my opinion, not to mention the fact that June 2022 was their best month in history. Once again, it's still good. So my thesis is this: I think that Q3 is going to be much better when the earnings report comes. And I think their deliveries, their production, all of that's going to be much better. It should also continue like that for Q4, and it will continue to improve every quarter, in my opinion, unless there are more lockdowns, unless there's something else out of Tesla's reach or control. Now, it's not Tesla's fault. Eventually, we're going to get past all of this. It's going to be just a day in the past. So don't worry too much about it. For the long term, I really believe Tesla is going to prevail. So stay strong and be patient. And I just want to inform you that the fact that Wall Street and many analysts, they lowered their expectations for Tesla to meet that, that's not necessarily the best of signs. I have to be honest. But when you also compare the data, once again, the second quarter wasn't as great or not even that close to the first quarter after everything that we saw. So there could be different interpretations of this. I mean, big analysts could use this as a shorting opportunity. We'll have to just wait and see. But in my opinion, I do think downside is a little bit more probable than upside based off this. I'm going to actually go into more details about the technicals tomorrow, but today I just wanted to inform you about these pieces of news, this information that came out. And I just want to wish the best for all of you. So just enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Please stay strong and spend time with people that you love. I really wish the best for each and every one of you. And I just want you to know that hard times are a part of life. These hard times make companies and people stronger, and we must never ever quit, never give up on your dreams, because the more you persevere, the more you try these different things, the more likely it is for you to succeed. In the case of Tesla, they know they're going through hard times, but the company is not quitting. They keep on pushing forward, and they broke the monthly record for June 2022 despite all those issues. So I'm still very bullish for the long term. I'm super, super bullish. For the short term, I do think that we could see some more bearish price action in the month of July. I don't know about the first week, but the later weeks, by like week 2, 3, 4, I see that being a lot more probable. With that out of the way, I'll go into more details about the price later on, and I just hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Tesla to the moon, and peace out.